Well, good evening, folks. Papa D here, coming at you again with a little Let's Talk About It. Also, tonight, as we have every week, my co-host, Angela, who I'm about to bring in as soon as I get to bring the streams up on both sides. But I hope you're all having a great Friday. Get ready for your weekend. And let's see, we need to bring in that one and that one. Unfortunately, a lot of these things you can't bring in until you start the stream. Angela, you there?
Hey,
There you is. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing pretty good. Doing good.
Just another day in paradise.
Hanging in there.
That's right. Well, we've got tonight is episode 6 of Let's Talk About It, and it's hard to believe. And also, we have recently surpassed about 12, almost 1,300 subscribers, and we appreciate every one of our subscribers and thank them for coming out and trusting us to feed them some of the day's information, what's going on in politics, what's going on in the presidential race, unfiltered and unscripted. But tonight, we want to get a little bit into a couple main topics. Of course, we'll cover the goings-on, the polls. I've got some poll information. I know, Angie, you've got a lot of the details on that for the day. And also the big topic, over the last couple of days, one of the big topics, there's a lot going on out there. It's been a very busy news day, to say the least. But our cadaver-in-chief has decided that term limits for the Supreme Court is a wise thing. And we'll talk a little bit about why that's not. And why the Constitution was not designed in such a manner. But first, I wanted to start off with one little thing here. And this is something Angie and I talked about last week. If I can find it here. Oh, there we are. We wanted to replay a video from a few years ago. The Democratic presidential candidate, what she thinks of young voters. And we just wanted to bring that up and show that real quick. We didn't have that streamed up last week. And for those of you that haven't seen it, it's a pretty common video out there. But let me just switch over to that real quick. We'll just let you take a quick couple seconds here. But gives you a feel for the voting bloc that they're pushing for, what they thought. But now, since they're reinventing the wheel, they won't think that anymore. But with that being said, let's just check this out real quick.
What else do we know about this population, 18 through 24? They are stupid. That is why we put them in dormitories, and they have a resident assistant. They make really bad decisions.
Yeah, they make really bad decisions, but they only make bad decisions when you don't need them to win an election.
Right.
Of course, with the rebranding of Kamala, the Kamala of today is not the Kamala that was, but may be in the past. In the future's past, yeah. But it ain't the same
Every
person.
day's a new day, and every day's a new version, I feel like.
A new Kamala.
And, I mean, she's Kamala the chameleon, I think, in my opinion. It's like, what version?
Chameleon.
Right. I mean, if the shoe fits, wear it, We don't know what version or what spiel or what I didn't say versus what I did say. It's just tune in tomorrow, you never know.
Yeah, we'll get back once we think about it overnight, and whatever fits the script will be tomorrow. But one of the interesting things, Ange, I know before you get into the polling, I've actually brought up. I follow really RealClearPolitics, and I follow pretty close the Rasmussen reports. That's what I tend to believe is the most accurate and most trustworthy. And I know that's probably what you've been looking at also. But one of the things I did want to bring up here, before we get into the main topic, is the difference in the two parties over what's happened at the Olympics. And we're not going to go digging too deep into that. You all know what the opening ceremony showed and what it stood for. And, of course, there's arguments about that. But I believe yesterday, must have happened yesterday and into today, the Olympics go overnight in different time zones,
24/7,
so don't
right?
hold me to it. But the Olympics allowed a biological male to fight a woman, and he beat the hell out of her.
I did see that. She was in Italian, and I think it was 45 seconds into the match, and I saw the slow motion hit by hit, and he got 2 hits to the face on her within 30 seconds, and it, you could see her take a step back. She was a little discombobulated. You can tell she got her bell rung, basically.
Oh yeah.
In boxing terms.
As expected.
Exactly. And she had to have the wherewithal to say, look, I'm not going to continue with this. I can't physically continue with this. And I feel that, obviously I don't agree with men playing in women's sports. I don't think there's an air of fairness at all to that. These women work hard their entire lives. And then to come to find out that she was trying to win gold for her dad that had passed away just breaks your heart. And if it doesn't, I don't know what to tell you, but that hit me really hard watching all that coverage about that.
And all taken away because of woke. But as that happened, of course, the Harris campaign, as delivered by many news outlets, including Fox, was silent. They were contacted for comment. They were asked whether they supported a biologic male, intersex games, trans athletes, all of those things. And they wouldn't say a thing about it because we know what the answer would be. We know her answer is woke, woke, woke.
Yes.
Do whatever you want. Call yourself whatever you want to call. I'm not going to sit here and argue that tonight. I'm not going to even get into that.
No, we don't have enough time in the world.
I don't care if you consider yourself a head of cabbage. I don't give a rat's butt. But in something like this, you got to take a stand, and the right thing to take a stand against it. The Trump campaign did quickly slam the notion. And the President Trump made it clear that he will not stand for it. And when elected, there will be legislation that will be pushed to stop this and bring it back to where it used to be. Men fight, swim, compete in general against men, and women biologically so. And if you want to consider yourself something else, well, good. But whatever you got down below that you were born with, that God gave you, is what you're going to compete as. So things like this don't happen. But that just shows one more area of division between the parties. And, again, being an old-timer, this seems pretty simple, but clearly it's not for the other parties, other parties.
Well, I think it doesn't fit their narrative that they've been talking about for so long, not just even during the campaign for the Democrats. It's far surpassed that. But Trump has stated in pretty much every rally, every time he's on television, interview, that is one of their topics that they want to address very quickly on if and when he does win. Right. And I think, what you're, saying too, Dad, is that there is no clear definition on what the Harris campaign is really running for as far as what their policies are. Whereas you get that contrast on the Trump campaign where there is you can go to his website and it is listed in black and white with bullet points every single topic that he plans to either discuss heavily once in office, make legislation to change or amend or adapt, or just abolish it altogether if necessary, if, whatever the situation ends up being. But they need to make a clear and definitive statement as to whether they do support these situations happening or whether they don't. And I think anybody who has daughters, myself, obviously you, Dad, I would feel really as angry as all these people are if my daughter had worked for decades, their whole lives, these women do, to compete in these high level tournaments such as the Olympics, and to have that all ripped away from you like that is just, it's inappropriate. It doesn't need to happen. It shouldn't happen.
Due to nothing but craziness in politics. And a lot of companies now are finding out that this was a big mistake. This whole woke thing and all this stuff is a big mistake. I read an article this morning that I think it was Samsung. Don't quote me. I believe it was Samsung. I'm going to look that up. But major backer of the Olympics, major sponsor of the Olympics, because of the opening ceremony and all the goings-on there, pulled out, and the cost of them pulling out was $1 billion, with a B, folks, dollars. Was pulled out of Olympic sponsorship.
Dad, I wonder if some of these sponsors who were brought on for the Olympics had even any awareness of what the plan was for all of this going down. And I can almost guarantee, from what it sounds like, a lot of these companies were just as blindsided. They didn't, you think of the Olympics of the past and you think, camaraderie, and we're all coming together as humanity to do these different games and who's the best in their country. And it's so exciting. They're not thinking, we're going to see a depiction of what we saw in the manner that we saw, in the mockery of which we saw it in. And I think they have every right. It's their money. If you don't like what you're seeing and what your name is attached to, you can by all means go.
You talk, the dollar talks. When the dollar walks, people listen. It's like we say, let the ballot box talk for us. But when it comes to corporate sponsorship, now maybe they knew, and they certainly they didn't put up that kind of money without knowing at least an idea of what was going on. I think it just came down to no one or everyone had underestimated how it was going to be received. And if you want to go take a shot at, 2 billion people
plus
in their religion,
yeah, right,
good for you. You get what you deserve. But it's very, very interesting. Hold on a second. I got to close something out here. There we go. Get things back to normal here. But so that was very interesting, and I think there's a lot more of that coming down the pike. So again, we're not here to judge. Did I think it was called for? No, I do not. A lot of other people felt the same way, and now corporate sponsorships are doing the same thing. And again, you're seeing more and more of this every day. Companies are just really dialing it back because they realize this is it's a small part of the overall number in society that maybe agrees with this, and the dollar will talk. So we'll see what more comes out of it. The Olympics are supposed to be, like you said, Anjo, a worldwide thing. The countries get together, compete. It's not, it's not the nation against nation, other than it's, athlete against athlete, supposed to be anyway.
Right.
What's going on this year? I don't know. I haven't paid a whole lot of attention to it, nor will I. Just
no, I haven't watched any of it other than what I've seen in clips and, just that, crosses my feed. You can't avoid that. But unless you're on X, then you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, just YouTube, it's all over everywhere. I mean, you're going to see it. But I do want to say, though, regardless of all of that nonsense, congratulations to all the medal winners. Not just in our country, in all the countries. These individuals work so hard to get where they're at, and congratulations to them. Regardless of what happened, the true meaning of the Olympics is seeing these men and women win in their field that they work so hard for. So I think that's great,
worked
regardless.
all their lives for it. They deserve every bit of the joy they get out of it, and yeah, congratulations to every one of them. It doesn't matter where you're from.
Right.
Although we do love to see our USA team do it, especially the gymnastics. The girls do what they did. Saw
Right.
today we just,
yeah, they incredible.
what was it? The rowing team or one of the water teams?
Oh
First
yeah,
time
they
we've
won. They medaled for the
since 1960 something. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of cool stuff happening over there. So we're happy for them, but we're all happy for all the athletes, and we, they hope it all gets the problems they're having and the issues get all straightened out, and they can continue and finish out these games and leave with a lot of good memories and just not this other stuff, these other distractions. But so what's the? Let's get back to the update on the presidential race. We're still waiting on a vice presidential candidate on the Democratic side.
Mm-hmm.
There's been some talk that some of the contenders that are being vetted are dropping out. A little bit interesting there. If you are being vetted for the second highest office in the country and you say, no, thank you, I'm just going to go take a walk and you can catch me over here. So that'd be interesting to see. They're expecting that Kamala will make the announcement as early as Tuesday of next week. So we'll see who the debates will be against, finally.
Oh boy.
But what are you showing? Give us your update. I've got the polls up here, but I'm not sure what one you are looking at. So, oops.
I kind of bounced around everywhere throughout the day because some, like, I don't know if you've been seeing this, but some of the polls haven't updated until a certain point. So a lot of what I'm seeing is still from yesterday, which is normal. Basically,
I can bring up the graphic if you want on Real Clear. I don't know if it'll follow the numbers close to what you have.
Well, we could we could try it.
As of today, take a look at that. It's not the entire package, but this is, again, credit to RealClearPolitics for all their hard work and what they do. But you can see the Rasmussen's are showing Trump head-to-head up by 5. In Ohio, by 10. I don't have yesterday's, so I'm not sure what changes took place since yesterday.
I know. Let's see. Okay, so mine's pretty similar. A slight difference in the national poll, and then a slight difference with Ohio, but not much difference otherwise. But what I have as of about noon today, I have not checked tonight. I don't know if any of them have updated since then, but I can check later and we'll post any differences. I'll post them in the comments for you guys. So far what I've got is Trump went up in his overall percentage to win the election. So he's now up to 60% overall to win versus Kamala at 38%. The national poll, so mine had it tied with a 1.1% difference, and that's within the margin. So it's pretty much at a dead heat, I think, right now, nationally. He's up in Arizona by 3 points, up in Nevada by 2.8, so that's still within the margin. Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, they have them dead heat tied. Georgia, now I'm seeing a lot of differences in Georgia, and I think it's so close that it's almost like you just can't, I mean, it could change at every second kind of a thing. Right. What I saw earlier today was that he was up by 2.5 points in Georgia. Now, the day prior, she was ahead by 5 points in Georgia. So I don't know, day to day, I think people are seeing more and they're getting more exposure to, like we talked about, doing their research, seeing what's being said online, looking at for themselves what's being said, and then they're repolling these people, and it's changing in the different direction. That's at least what I'm thinking right now.
Mm-hmm.
But
her
I
initial
did
bump
know,
is starting to wear out, I believe.
right, and I think people are getting really impatient with the fact that she has not chosen a VP, and that's starting to affect her negatively, whereas Trump came out and he's sticking with his VP and they're confident. And I do want to mention on before we head out tonight about Vance visiting the border today. I did watch that and it was amazing. Thing, Dad, that I saw that kind of surprised me a little bit was California. And the reason why is normally at this stage in a presidential race, okay, Democrats have a stronghold, everyone knows, on California.
Right.
It's been that way for decades. But usually at this point in the race, right, bless their heart. At this point in the race, in prior election cycles, the Democratic candidate who was running for president at the time was at least up in the polls in California by like double digits, and strong double digits, okay, at this point. She is only leading California right now by 7%. And I found that very surprising because it shows what they've been saying in the news cycles of how people are coming out and starting to feel like after the Republican National Convention that they felt more confident to support Trump publicly. And I think a lot of that is starting to come out into the polls. And it's really, I mean, could you even imagine if California was not blue? Holy moly.
That's never, hadn't been seen in, if ever, in a long time. But I think a lot of it, the people in California are getting hammered anyway from Newsom. I mean, economically, and the crime. True. There was a map I saw today. It was put out in jest, but it's one of those maps where, like a crime map, where they put a little tick everywhere there's a crime. And it was over San Francisco, and the whole city, the whole metro area was covered. You couldn't see the map. It was covered in these ticks.
Oh, my gosh.
And they were asked what the ticks were. We assumed it was crime. And that was everywhere that human excrement had been found. It was a map that people had decided, somebody decided to build to map that. So,
wow.
You know, you got people who are fed up with the economics, with the crime, with the filth, with the homelessness. Newsom's now decided in the last week to finally do something about the homeless, he says, but they've spent $29 billion over the last few years and nothing's happened. People are moving out by the droves. And I think,
well, yeah,
you know,
and businesses are moving out too.
Yeah, pat yourself on the back if you're a lifelong Democrat and you think that they can do no wrong. But you know, that's all well and good until it starts hitting you in the purse. You know, you're getting hammered by your own state, and then you're getting hammered by the policies of, you know, Bidenomics. Something at some point's got to give. So we can't say that, you know, they're going to flip California. But like you said, you're absolutely right. Those numbers, that shouldn't be close. It should be a walk away already.
Right.
The way it always is.
Right.
So it's
I was very shocked to see that.
I mean, this is like the conversation you and I had about New York and New Jersey.
Yeah.
You know, who'd ever thunk that? But
not in a long time. And New York is kind of like California, where they stay blue. It doesn't matter. Right. I mean, you know.
Used to be that way in Pennsylvania, too.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the whole Northeast kind of just stays blue, and they're happy with their pick, and that's fine. You know, more power to you if that's what you want to do. But like you said, Dad, I think nationally, it's not one state versus another state. Obviously, some are way worse off than others. That is very true. But I think everyone economically, no matter what age bracket you fit into, whether you're 16 just getting a job or you're retired, you're still feeling the crunch, and it really is affecting every single thing in your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people not being able to buy a home, people not being able to pay rent.
Right.
It's impacting everyone, and I think there's a lot of people that are going to vote to the right who still just won't say it publicly. this election could be, it will be, I believe, one for the history books. And I've seen landslides before. There was once a time not too long ago, before you probably, well, maybe after you started voting. Remember Florida? Florida was a swing.
Oh, for a long time.
It was an absolute swing. Now, our state is, my God, it's not anymore. It's real easy to tell who's in charge down here. That's why everybody wants to move here.
Hey, I mean, regardless, well, not regardless, but I mean, that is a huge, huge perk. But, I mean, I'm pretty partial to it, but I might be a little biased.
Just a little. Well, so we are there. Let's touch on, like I say, right now, we're, depending on who you talk to, I guess the recap on that is we're either still neck and neck, and like I said, Real Clear Politics through Rasmussen is showing the margin starting to creep apart, and I think a lot of this has to do with the bump, the coronation bump, we'll call it, and that is starting to wear out as she is now beginning to, I can't say lay out her platform, but
I think people are starting to see with their own eyes that what's coming out of her mouth and what's actually on paper are two separate ideals and people, and they're starting to connect the dots.
Yeah, the news media has to bring out, they can't just cover and say this is the new Kamala, this is what she stands for. There's too much audio, there's too much video out there, all the way back to when she was in politics in California. So it's just going to take a little time for that Kamala to catch up with today's Kamala, and then the news media is going to have to do what they did when they finally had to recognize the fact that the cadaver-in-chief was not all there.
Right.
And they had to be honest. And the question she's going to have to ask right at the beginning is, why didn't you? You were part of that. And that means you own his platform, you own his accomplishments, and you own what few there are, and you own the shortfalls of his policy. So it takes time. It'll all come out. And I think the polls are very indicative and clear about that. It's just a slow burn, as you said, Ange, until we get through the convention. And
oh, yeah. And off. I cannot wait to see the display that they're going to try to put on for this. It's going to be really interesting because sources, I've read a lot in today, especially in some of these articles about they're not even sure at this point if Biden is going to make a speech. Will he even be there? So I don't know. It's going to be anybody's guess what happens and who speaks. But given what's been going on, I don't think she's going to get the bump from this like the Democrats have been expecting. I think her biggest bump was when the swap happened over to her.
Yeah, at the end of the day, she's still a fill-in candidate that was appointed to the position and didn't receive the votes.
Right.
What they do at the convention, what the total vote count is, the delegates, or how they handle the delegates, that's being all conducted by the party, and everybody knows that. So this isn't really a convention to anoint the he or the she who was voted in and had the support of the public. She's a fill-in. This is 1968. All over again.
Mm-hmm.
So
rinse and repeat. They're real good at that.
Yeah, they're real good. That's let's they wait a few years to try it again. But the thing we wanted to really touch on tonight was a little bit about this term limit and other items with respect to the Supreme Court. I'll let you. I mean, there's a couple points here he's trying to make, but yeah, give us the recap on what he is trying to accomplish, and more importantly, people say to me, I've already had people online get me on this and go, it's not an argument anymore, Biden's out. Well, Biden may be out, but Harris
He's still the
follows
president.
his policy. He's still the president, and she is following his policy and agrees with him on this point. You take that one.
Okay. So this was a few days back. It was released as an idea in an op-ed. So basically, like a letter released to a publisher that they put out for the president. Okay. So there was no formal getting in front of television or making, a statement in the Oval Office or anything like that. It was yet another letter. So term limits for the Supreme Court was brought up by Biden. Basically, to break it down, that each appointed Supreme Court justice would have 18 years in that position. And every 2 years, we would appoint a new justice if they reached the age limit or their term. So, and the reason that is, like, I hate to use the word insane, but it's a really, okay, we're just going to go with insane because I'm just going to keep it real like it is.
Pretty much describes
First
the
of
party
all,
in general anyway.
Right. When you deal with anything in that nature, this is the highest court in our land, okay? If the Supreme Court says it so, nothing else can test it because they are the highest court in the United States of America. Hence why they deal with the biggest issues in our society, like abortion, like certain people who have done really, really, really bad things. They take it all the way up to them because that is their last ditch effort to get something happening for themselves, okay? Anytime you make a vote, you have to vote on it. It has to come from the Senate and the House. They have to come together and say, do we want it or do we not want it? Doesn't matter if the president wants it. It can't be done by executive order. It has to go through Congress. The end. That's where the buck stops, okay? Now, the real thing that people have been talking about is why now, okay? You have been in office for 3.5 years. We have heard crickets. Everything happened with Trump.
That's
okay?
Right.
And I hate to, facts are facts, okay? The Democratic Party knows that they didn't get their way. Okay, they set out all these bogus allegations and lawsuits and didn't send him to prison for the rest of his days to rot, essentially. Okay, so like we were stating in other videos, calculated chess moves, right? The Democrats don't do anything. Politicians in general don't do anything unless they want something from it. That's just the facts.
That's
okay.
Right.
Okay. So you go look a little deeper. Okay, so that's what he brought up was we want, so many years, and after that, they can every 2 years we can appoint a new justice and all these things. The letter is available online to the public, so if you want to go through and read all the specific details for yourself, absolutely do that. Like we always say, keep yourself educated. You don't know what's coming out next. The real thing that they're worried about is the fact that right now we have, I think, 9 justices right now. And it is a 6-3 conservative majority is where they lean to in their rulings. So it's not to say that they are a Democrat or they are Republican. This is just based off of their rulings that they set out and how they essentially vote on those rulings as a community group, okay? Right now, the majority is conservative, and everyone on the left side of the aisle is scared to death because 2 more justices are talking about retiring. And the 2 justices out of the 3 more liberal-sided justices are the ones that are talking about retirement, in which case, whoever is the president next would be responsible for appointing 2 justices to the Supreme Court. It would still have to get voted on, obviously. They would be vetted and all these things. But the fear
And
is
also,
that they're going
if they get that, the other point is we're looking at potentially sweeping the House and the Senate, which, as you just said, Angie, they confirm the president's appointment.
Right.
So if you want to slam the door shut,
you slam it on with Congress.
You slam it with Congress.
Right. The real reason that everybody's getting so up in arms, their underwear's twisting up, you know, the whole bit, is because if they get a majority, you know, conservative leaning court justice or 2, then their fear is that the next thing to go is gay marriage. And as we have all seen, heard, and witnessed with our own eyes, the left is, you know, that's their big push is, you know, we're for everyone. And don't get me wrong, conservatives are for everyone as well. This has nothing to do with how conservatives feel. This is just a worry that the left has going forward. But the reason why, okay, so to summarize all that up real quick, the reason why I think this is kind of an asinine idea is because you have to look at the logistics, okay? And I'm all about the logistics when it comes to politics. Most justices, when they are appointed to the Supreme Court, okay, they've been doing this is their whole life has been in the justice system. The average age of a new justice after appointment is 53 years old. So the likelihood that these people are going to even stay past 20 years at this rate is pretty slim. Hence why we have 2 that are speaking about retirement. So really it's a control thing. It's not for the good of the justice system. It's a control factor. And that's what really boils down to.
They want to make sure that every presidential election, the potential exists based on...
For someone new.
If there's 18-year term and normal longevity and all that, that president has a chance to alter the makeup of the court and not lock it down. And, you know, what they're missing here, well, first of all, it's a tough thing to do. It can't be done by executive order. It can't be done by fiat. It can't be done by anything. The Constitution was laid out in this manner for a specific reason. And any change to that requires, as would any amendment to the Constitution,
2/3 majority.
My brain just seized up. 2/3 majority. It's not something that's easily done. Now, the reason this was done in the first place, the way that our forefathers wrote the Constitution up, the reason that it's a lifelong term is if you have a judge and you give them pick a term, 4 years, 10 years, 18 years, I don't know, and that judge is going to make decisions potentially not based on what is correct or what they feel is the right verdict or right answer, because, well, I'm only going to be around here for X amount of years. You know, is my next judge going to overturn that ruling? And, you know, there's a reason that the longevity of the lifelong appointment or to the Supreme Court was put in place in the first place. And you can't
we
just
cannot politicize the court system. That's what the mob does.
Exactly.
So
the separation of powers is there for a reason. The Supreme Court is the supreme authority, and like you said, it's the end of the road. They make the decision. That's it. You don't just step in and start saying, well, you know what, politically, it doesn't work because we don't get our side. It's not fair to one party or the other, so we have to start fudging with it. And that's what the forefathers didn't want. That is why there's only one branch that gets a lifelong appointment. And it's there, like I said, for a reason. you don't want a judge feeling that their decisions are based on the limited amount of time, or, gee, I'm only in office for 6 years. We got to make sure we make decisions on all these things and don't take time to work our way through it. We may take on cases that we wouldn't have normally taken on because of that. So,
right. And some of these cases are, truckloads worth of paperwork, evidence, subpoenas. They have to go through everything that has already funneled through the lower sectors of the court system. So it takes them, what would take a normal attorney or a judge, rather, to look over and decide a ruling could take the Supreme Court months and months and months, sometimes years, to come up with a definitive ruling that they know is just and that is fair to the system that has been presented to them to rule under. And that is the point of why they are there.
right. And do you want a situation where either political party can say, well, we've got this case that we want to put before the Supreme Court, but just like taking it to a different court, because you're going to get a more favorable result if you take it to a district court in New York or California if you're on one side of the aisle. Do you want the Supreme Court or the people that are going to take this case to the Supreme Court say, let's wait till after the election because it looks like we're going to win that one, and we got 2 coming up that are going to be appointed because the terms are coming up. So let's wait until we roll them out, and then we'll present our case. You've just short-circuited the whole process. And that's why it was designed the way it is. That's why this is just foolish. Absolutely foolish.
It is very
won't
foolish.
go anywhere.
Oh, no.
It's just like
no.
this dream of
a lot of
packing the Supreme Court.
A lot of congresswomen and men that I've seen, it is dead stop on arrival, period. It doesn't matter what they write up or how they word it or whatever the terms and the conditions are. It is not ever happening.
No. And they know
but
that.
It just goes to show the character of the Biden-Harris administration. It goes to show what their intentions are, whether it be right now with Biden as he wallows away in the White House, or with the Harris administration of the potential future where, she wants to defund the police. She doesn't, as someone who's worked in the judicial system her entire career until she got into the White House, you would think that she would respect the laws and the way things are, and it just goes to show how disrespectful they are to the Constitution. It's appalling, really.
They say that they don't feel that way now. The campaign says, no, we felt that way at one time, but we don't feel that way today. Yeah, I'll call bull on that one. What is it? The old adage, leopard doesn't change the spots.
Right.
Something to that effect. And she's all about it. The party's all about it. And we expect that once the election takes place, whatever the outcome is, everything will go back to the way she and the party always were. So that's the hard part about this to swallow. But the American people are getting it.
Right.
Everybody's seeing it, and it's unfortunate that all the news outlets aren't reporting it in that manner, but they're getting the message. And I think you can look at people and get you can look at her and get a real good feeling for what you've got. And people all people don't have short memories. They remember where she came from and what she stood for, and the things she said. And the cackling, the hyena will, it'll never change.
No.
So this will be dead on arrival. It's just another example of, again, words are coming out that I don't want to, once it's out, it's out. But it's the hypocrisy that makes the party. We stand for justice. We stand for everyone having, a shot, an even shot. That only works if the punches are rolling with them. And again, we
Right.
can speak to both sides because all parties, you know, depending on who's in power and who's got the wind behind them, you know, will say and do the same
That
thing.
is true. But I will say this, though, Dad. You've never seen the Republican Party ever go after term limits on the Supreme Court, ever.
Oh, and I've never seen the Republican
Never.
Party use lawfare and do
Right.
the things they did to
So,
keep a candidate from even being able to run, not to make any thoughts about the events of the last week, but everything they've done, they need to watch out what they're asking for, because the other thing they're also talking about is they want to have an amendment to finally take care of the question of presidential immunity. And that's never going to happen either. The Supreme Court has already decided on that and threw some of that down to the states, to the lower courts to decide. But watch what you ask for, because if something like that happens, not only do the Republicans lose their immunity, but so do you.
right.
And
You can't pick and choose just because
now,
of a certain situation.
although they would if they
could. Oh, absolutely, they would if they could. But
Oh.
the reason that it's set up the way that it is so that, you can't just run a country with millions of people in it at your own personal feelings and, who hurt your ego this week. Like, that's just not. If you feel like that, you shouldn't be in politics.
That would be like, I don't know, a president deciding that people that took out student loans, I'm just going to, with a pen stroke, just wipe it out.
Just wipe it all away.
It would be something like that, but that would never happen. Would it?
Mm-mm.
Courts have already shot that to pieces. So, yeah, we just have to, again, we start playing with the Constitution, you start playing with the Founding Fathers' design, you're asking for nothing but trouble. And it'll never happen anyway. It's just a non-issue. But it's interesting with all the goings on and the economy being in the shape it's in, with the election year coming up, coming to a head now, that we pick our battles on
Right
things
now.
like that will never come to fruition. I don't know.
Maybe in his head, he thought it was the hot button issue that he just never got to on the campaign trail, and he just wanted to toss it out there like a lone like a lone baseball. Just, we'll see what happens. Screw it.
I'm running out of time right now. I only got 4 or 5 months here, so I need to just start throwing these softballs out there.
Yeah, just jazz it up. She'll never see this coming.
Whole lot going on this week for sure. We've got, like I said, there's potential vice presidential nominees that are backing out. Secret Service is still being grilled.
Oh yeah, that was brutal.
Just.
That was way worse than the director. Woo.
This guy got hammered.
Mm-hmm. He got yelled at, yelled. Ted Cruz ain't taking no crap. That's all I'm saying. Watch it for yourself. It's all over the place. Just, I mean, it's not primetime television, but I understand where all the frustration is coming from. We, the American people, from the people who need to be held responsible, and the fact that they are still stonewalling in these meetings and in these hearings just astonishing to me. And I think everybody sitting there and grilling them is just getting even more and more upset as they go down the line. So, and I really can't.
Oh no, this is going to go on well past the election. I mean, the hearings are going on now. They're trying to get to the bottom of it. This is not going to come to a head anytime soon, but it's most certainly interesting political theater as they try to get some people to answer a question or two.
Right. Oh, just a simple yes or no. Like, we don't
they
know.
They just can't do it. Give me a simple yes or no. Well, I'll get back to you on that. On a simple yes or no? Okay.
I wish I had a job that I could just lie under oath about and still keep my job. It would be great. I want that job.
Work for one of the networks.
That's crazy. That is just crazy.
Pay good money for that stuff.
I don't know.
But anyway, I think we're coming up on our time. But again, folks, we're just kind of recapping the event on each of our episodes. Main event for the day, polls, what's going on both sides. Hopefully by the next edition, which will be episode 7, we may know who the vice presidential debate will be against. And we'll have a little bit of background to be able to start doing a little vetting of our own on that candidate. So we look forward to that. Well, we look forward to, I heard rumors about The View. Not sure that's going to be around long.
Really? I didn't hear anything about that. I don't really follow it just because it's so radical to me. I just don't care about it.
My TV, it gets all staticky when I go through the channels and that pops up. So I don't know. But I've heard some rumors about that. I've seen a few things online about that. So I'm going to do a little digging on that and find out what's going on. But certainly not a show that we would spend a lot of time on. I know that Governor Sununu was on there recently, and Whoopi and him went full board each other. So that's something to check out.
Oh, I did hear about that. I did hear about that.
Yeah, it just happened. But again, we're somewhere between a real close election with respect to the polls and a blowout. So we are still waiting. We'll keep a close eye on those polls on every one of our episodes. We'll bring you the updates. I would recommend keep an eye on RealClearPolitics, Real Clear Polling. They do an awesome job. The polls are pretty much updated daily. You'll get whatever you want to look at. If you want to go state by state or just the national, the general election, multiple polling sources, they're awesome. And it's who I go to follow. So I would recommend, again, nobody pays to have us say anything. But I've always followed Real Clear Politics, Real Clear Polling. And one final thing, we always bring this up at the end, and I'm going to bring it up today. The Protect the Vote. And I keep bringing this up because this year is massively important. And we have to be ahead of this. We have to do what we can to assure that the elections and the integrity of the elections are held as high as they can be. There is a website. I'll bring it up here real quick, I believe. There we go. It's protectthevote.com. And that page allows you to go in, enter your information. And once you enter your information, you can go to a state that you're in if you'd like to. And we'll use Florida as an example. And you can enter everything in. And you can volunteer. You can report ballot integrity issues. You can get ready to be a poll watcher. This is an important thing. It's a great site. Again, we do not have a dog in the hunt. I have signed up. I think anybody that's out there should and be part of protecting the vote. Whether you believe or don't believe what happened at the last election in 20, that is up to you. But a lot of irregularities are now starting to pop out. And there we go. And
I think with this day and age and so much technology being factored into the elections now, as well as the mail-in ballots, like you said that they've found, I think it's more imperative than ever that all of us do our part, not only with the voting process, but making sure that your vote is counted correctly, and that it gets, it stays where it's supposed to. We've had issues with that as well. So right. It's just it's like Dad said, it's a good way for you guys to get out there and, make
part of it.
Yeah.
Don't complain about it after the fact if you can be a part of it on the front end. And nobody's saying you're going to be out there, slinging around the polling places, and nobody wants that kind of stuff. But being a part as a volunteer, or just being someone that's being cognizant of what your local municipalities are doing, if you happen to hear someone talking about something they're planning on doing, or a relative that's no longer with us but they're still going to be voting, or something crazy like that,
right,
say something about it, because that is the biggest fear in this election cycle. We know they've done it once, and the potential is it could happen again, and we can all be part of trying to, as best we can, put the brakes on that. So check out protectthevote.com. And like I said, we are not sponsored by anyone. We speak because we like to, and I think that's a great place to start. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So there you go.
Oh, and it's also linked on the YouTube page. So
if you
after you guys get done watching the video, you can go ahead and hop over there if you want to. Even if you don't do anything right away, that's okay. Just give it a look over and see what they have on there, and just to make sure that, as we always say, that you're educated about what you're going to choose to do, and then do it. I think that'd be great.
Absolutely. It's always going to be there. These websites we reference, we try to keep them on the channel, and they will be there for you to check out. And like Angie said, just give it a look, decide if it's for you. But I think it is a good place to start if you are worried at all about a reoccurrence or rekindling of what may or may not have transpired in the past. And that's how we're going to say it. All right, folks. Well, I think, Ange, what do you think?
I'm thinking pretty good.
Thinking pretty good?
I think we talked about a lot of good stuff. Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, we hope you enjoyed it tonight. We will be putting together for the next, hard to believe, episode 7.
Wow.
Try to get that put together and scripted up and set up here in the next couple of days. And there's no shortage of topics. So what we will do, as always, it will be in the on the channel page. You can hit the notify button. We want to take a step back and make a couple of thank yous. Number one, thank you to our subscribers. We appreciate every one of you coming out.
Yes, thank you so much for everything.
Get out there and check the site out. If you like what you see and you want to be part of our family, we'd love to have you. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button. You cannot imagine how much that helps. Every like we get, every person that takes the time to watch a video, it all goes into the algorithms, and it helps YouTube, or helps us get noticed by YouTube, and it's just a big thing. And again, a simple thing like a like is huge. We'd appreciate it if you do that for us, and then hit that notify button. New videos come up. When Angie and I have a new live event, which we're trying to put a couple of weeks up, you'll get notified. And you can come on out and join us and comment. Leave us comments. Talk to us. We love to hear.
Let us know what you want to hear.
The comments been coming in quite a bit. A lot of people watching the videos after the fact. I understand that. Love the way these get archived for later view. And leave us your comments. Talk to us. We'd love to hear from you. And we'll take all those comments and mash them all together into a pie and maybe make an episode out of it. Hard to tell.
You never know.
You never know what you're going to get over here. But we thank you all, and also one final thank you to Maddness Productions. They did the bumper music that we are using. We appreciate that. Thankful for that. And again, that's Maddness Productions. You can check them out. I think I've got them linked up on this page. If not, it will be. It's also linked up at my main page, which is David Delivers Space. Cheap plug. Feel free to pop over there. So we will see you, I guess. Angie, final words.
I just want to say thank you to everybody that's made a stop by, taking a look around. All the new subscribers, thank you so much, you guys. Oh, I see the coffee mug. Don't, hop on over there if you get a free second. It really means a lot that you guys are kind of, tuning in and you like what we have to say. It makes us want to just keep doing it more. So thank you so much for that. I will also say this. No matter what party you are interested in right now, I always stress to educate yourself and make your voice heard in the polls. That is the most important thing. We're less than 100 days away, so stay tuned. We're going to bring you guys all the latest and greatest of what's happening, what's been said, what we think, of course. So yeah, stay tuned for next time. And before I forget this time, God bless America.
I can't forget that. Can't forget that. Well, absolutely. We're going to be rocking this thing and bringing you as much information as we can, daily events, right up until the election. And as Angie said, you can tell who we feel will do the best job for this country. But just getting out there and getting a little knowledge, learning about either a little more about your party or our party or whose ever party, and voting. And like we said before, we say it every week. Go to your county election board. Get on the website. Find out if you're not registered, register. Once you are registered, go out to Protect the Vote and sign up with them. Let's all be a part of the solution, not just sit here and bitch at each other about the results.
Right.
That's what it comes down to. So I guess what we'll say is, again, thanks to everybody, and thank you for Angie for being here again.
No problem.
I mean, we get to push them buttons and make all these things happen. It's awesome. I love it. And we hope everybody continues to come out and watch us have fun. With that,
exactly.
I think we'll say good evening, and we will be back for the next episode probably possibly Saturday, but more than likely, I would think, beginning of next week by the time we put everything together and script up. But it will be out on the channel. Once we schedule here in the next few days, it'll be out on the channel for y'all to check out. So have a good evening. God bless America.
Bye,
and
guys.
Thanks to everybody, and we'll see you next episode. Night, guys.